What's up? Welcome back and happy Tuesday. It's another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks Live. I'm your host, Max at WeVideo. And as always, we've got another great episode lined up for you today. Today, we're going to be talking about templates, specifically the meme template, the exit template, also featuring a special guest later on in the show. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button, subscribe, as well as hit the bell in the top right corner so you don't miss a beat. And we also have our new Tuesday Tips landing page where you can subscribe there to get an update each week with our new upcoming show, as well as look at any past show we've done. We do these live for your convenience, but we also understand not everybody can make this time. That's why every episode is recorded. With that, let's bring on our co-host, Tyler Wall.
What is up, Max? Happy Tuesday once again. Happy to be back for another live episode.
Let's do it. Excited. So this could be kind of on the longer side. Let's get right down and dirty. Let's throw up that first template.
Sounds good. Let's hop into WeVideo and go over some templates. You can see here we are in the dashboard. So first things first, let's find where our templates live. You have a couple options to get to the template area. So you can see right here, if you hit these three dots, it's going to open up our template library. Another way to get there is just hit this templates tab. Once you are there, you're going to see a lot of different templates. Depending on your plan, these may differ.
Yeah, one thing to note was we are on the education template. We have different templates for different plans. This was recently released, and we had a lot of feedback here, so we thought it would be worth going in depth.
Definitely. So because we're in an education plan, we're going to go over a couple different education templates. Like I said, you may see different ones, and these are going to update constantly. So keep an eye out in this area for new templates. And let's go ahead and hop into the exit template first. This is a very popular template that we just created. And our special guest will be going more in depth about how to use this template for your classroom. So you can see here we are in the exit template.
So yeah, at first glance, this could be kind of overwhelming, but once you get kind of the sense of how these tracks work, it's all pretty straightforward. As you can see here, Tyler can point out, we've got different named tracks, each one. If you click it, you can expand it and see the text there as well as modify it.
Correct. So to change things on the template, it's very straightforward. These different areas are going to allow you to drag and drop different assets in. So depending on if it's a text layer or a video layer or audio, you'll be able to just select different media and bring them directly into one of these sections, right? So let's go ahead and just play our template out so you guys can get a little preview. So this section here is where we would add in different videos. Let's go ahead and start doing that.
Yeah, actually, it might be worth kind of switching over to the meme template now, Tyler, and then when we bring on our special guest, we can go more in depth with this. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So let's go ahead
and then, as always, for our viewers, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. We'll address them if it's current with the topic right now. If not, we'll address it more towards the end, but it will be addressed.
All right, so yeah, let's hop into the meme template. This is one that you'll probably see in most plans, so it's a little bit more aimed towards our different audiences. Let's go ahead and start modifying this. So as mentioned before, we can go ahead and drag and drop different sections. Let me see here. Actually,
Oh, there we go.
having some issues. So that was not a live template, so that's something you might run into. Let's just go ahead and start this. And then you can see here, this is actually updated so that we can start dragging and dropping.
So as you can see, kind of a few different assets here. We'll replace the main content by throwing something from our Essentials stock library.
All right, so for our meme, let's find a nice clip that would apply. Just bring it in, drag it and drop, and that's going to adjust to your timeline and to this template so it fits that same length. Let me minimize here so we can see all our tracks. If we wanted to adjust the audio, same idea. You can just go into our sound, drag one of these clips in, and it's going to populate with that new clip. So pretty straightforward. Just like your normal editing, you can go in and adjust these titles to have different text, different fonts, different colors. Lots of different options here within our static text. So templates are really here just to give us a good idea of how to get started on a project and help you get going right away.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think let's get to the meat of this and get back to the exit template. And let's also bring on our special guest today, the Chief Education Officer at WeVideo, author of his very own book. Everybody, please welcome Dr. Nathan Langrad.
Hey, Max.
Nathan.
Hey, Nathan. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Great, great. So let's get right down to it. We did just release this exit template. I think first and foremost, let's go over kind of what an exit template is, how it's applicable in the classroom, and then from there we can get more into the video portion of this.
Absolutely. So an exit ticket is a formative assessment, and many teachers are accustomed to a formative assessment as a way of driving decision-making for your classroom. So you want to ensure that you have an understanding of where your students are in their learning journey. And it typically, if you were in a face-to-face or maybe a brick and mortar environment, you would issue an exit ticket maybe at the end of class. If you're a high school teacher, before the bell rings, you'd want to have 10 minutes maybe for you to work the exit ticket with your students. It was their ticket out the door. Or if you're in elementary and you have different learning blocks and you have a reading learning block and you're about to transition from one lesson to the next, you'd want to get a pulse check on exactly where your students were in that particular lesson or that particular learning standard or objective. And now that we are in this new world of blended learning or distance learning or remote learning, whatever your situation is in your particular school, it's really advantageous for students to be able to continue, obviously, to demonstrate where they are in their learning journey. And we feel at WeVideo no better way of doing that than to share your learning, make your thinking visible through exit tickets, through a video exit ticket. And so as a student, when you were to go into your dashboard and the teacher has asked the student to reflect on their learning for the day or maybe ask them to show their learning, they can easily click on the student exit ticket, and we have one of the most popular exit tickets called the 3-2-1, and that is based on 3 things you learned, 2 questions that you have, or 2 things you want to learn more about, and 1 question you still have. But you can obviously modify the exit ticket to meet your needs in the classroom, but it allows students to share their thinking. We encourage students to get on camera. That way that they can really share their experience, and the teacher can get really further insight into what the student is feeling, what the student is thinking about. It's also a great social emotional learning tie-in. We know as educators, social emotional learning is so very important right now, and making that teacher-student connection. And so we're really excited to be able to offer this student exit ticket so that assessment can be more engaging. Assessment shouldn't feel like a quiz or a test or anything like that. It should really be an opportunity for a student to be proud of the work they're doing and be able to kind of show off what they've done. So yeah, that's a little bit about the student exit ticket experience.
Awesome. And are we able to pull that back up, Tyler?
Yeah, we have it right here.
Awesome. So this kind of demonstrates exactly what Nathan just pointed out, that 3-2-1 style right there.
So Nathan, what are some things that you're seeing with distance learning now being, very prevalent? What are some of the advantages to using video within the classroom during these times?
So one of the advantages I've seen is that we're able to really tap into the students' learning environment at home. And so we're encouraging students, to show off your pets or your toys or anything that's kind of around you, because that is their learning space now. That is their learning environment. And so we want to take advantage of students kind of being in their home environment to be able to share, their favorite toy or their pet. And you have the opportunity at home to be able to put that on camera. And so in the classroom, you wouldn't necessarily have that opportunity. So being able to, again, to make that kind of social emotional learning connection and being able to put some of those prized possessions or some of those things on camera, that's something that students really gravitate towards.
Awesome. So obviously, Nathan, being at WeVideo, we're obviously advocates for the use of video in the classroom. Given the times, I think a lot of teachers were forced into that space with real no alternative. For those teachers who are using video for the first time, especially for teaching in the classroom, creating videos for their students, what would be kind of some points of advice that you would give to someone new to video and WeVideo when it comes to teaching?
Yeah, a great question, Max. Well, as we're thinking about delivering core instruction with videos, really need to make sure that we keep student learning and engagement the central focus. And so, if we were used to delivering a 45-minute or a 60-minute or even a 90-minute lesson or learning block, we can't just necessarily replicate that for the distance online environment. We're not going to make a 60-minute video. We still have to ensure that those learning objectives are going to be taught at a very deep level. So we have to really think through, how will this translate best in a remote learning environment? And so we always ask for teachers to consider maybe a 10 to 12-minute instructional video. So if you're looking at a 60-minute lesson, making decisions with your grade level team or your subject level team about what are those components that we want to ensure are a part of a teacher instructional video. So the kinds of questions we want to ask our students, ensuring that their learning objectives are clear and concise and are shown throughout the video, giving opportunity for students to pause and reflect. Maybe they have opportunity to collaborate remotely with other students before responding to a certain prompt. And so we want to ensure that we are giving enough time and space for students to reflect. We don't want them to be attached to a screen all day. As teachers, we don't want to be attached to a screen all day. That does not equal engagement. We want to be very intentional and very purposeful with the learning experience that we're asking our students to be a part of when they're engaging with their screen. So I would say that is probably the biggest advice to give, is to ensure that we are building in a lot of reflection time and application time for our students.
Awesome. Well put. So Nathan, I understand you've written a book full of different kind of activities and ways that teachers can leverage video in the classroom. Could you elaborate a bit on that? And is there a specific portion of that that stands out to you the most that you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I happen to have a book here. WeVideo Every Day is the book that I wrote. And the reason I wrote the book was because teachers were looking for ideas for how they can use video creation to help with the everyday components of the classroom. It's fantastic to use video creation for projects, especially if you're looking at creating a documentary video or maybe a PSA about climate change and so forth. Those are fantastic, maybe project-based learning ideas. But we also have opportunities to engage students at those everyday moments. For example, the exit ticket that we discussed today, that is a ongoing formative assessment opportunity that we can use video creation for. And so even if you're doing, a morning meeting or a read aloud or a morning announcements, those are these everyday opportunities that teachers can connect with students and can engage with students. And so in this book, there's 40 different ideas for how you can engage students. So I hope that you're able to pick one up and start to think about how you can use video creation in your classroom.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. And to pick that up, I guess we can add that in the links or the comment below. So users can pick that up. We do have a question that came in through Facebook earlier this week about how to animate a long image, like similar to like a roster of like a football team or a soccer team that I think we could show right now, Tyler.
Yeah, we can switch over to that. That sounds good.
So I think this will make much more sense once we kind of see the panoramic image here.
Yeah, as Max mentioned, this came in as a comment last week, I believe. So very straightforward panoramic shot we have here. If I scale down, you can actually see it's very long. So this is something you could do with an iPhone very easily. And let's say we want this to fill the whole screen and show off all these players on our team. You're going to just get into the animation tab here. A quick tip is to hit this show grid and snap. That's going to allow us to move this in a more accurate way. So just start at the very edge, as you can see we've done here. And then when we end, it's going to pan all the way across. And then just save those changes. So that's going to create this animation for us. And slowly, if we adjust the length of this will adjust the speed.
Nice.
So that's going to create that effect and allow us to see the whole team in our shot.
Awesome. All right, glad we addressed that. 'Cause we forgot to do that last week. All right, and then while we wait for more questions to come in, let's get back to you real quick, Nathan. So we've talked about WeVideo in the classroom, specifically for the teacher's use. Do you have any recommendations or advice for the students? I know there's obviously no complete way to really duplicate the environment that a classroom offers, and I know a lot of students have been struggling trying to stay focused while looking through a screen. Any tips for them?
Absolutely. And actually the same tips I would give to a student, I would say would really apply to the teacher as well. And I would say that the biggest, piece of advice is to create a structure. And that's actually a great way for parents to become involved too, is for parents and teachers to help their students create structures around their day. And structures really help us focus. It really helps us with building in time for reflection, for creativity, for application. If we don't have structure, sometimes it seems like we're moving from one activity to the next without really seeing the connection between the activities. So when we have a structure, we're able to really focus on one learning experience at a time, and then being able to have times for reflection so we're able to see the bigger picture. It's really important. In the classroom, we had think time, we had think pair share, and we had lunchtime, we had time to interact with our peers. And now that we're in distance learning or remote learning, we don't really have a lot of those opportunities. So it's really important for teachers to find those synchronous opportunities. I think of like a sandwich method where you have asynchronous learning activities. Those are like your pre-activities. Then you have your synchronous activities. Those are like your Zoom and your Google Meet activities where you're connecting with your students. You're asking about their week, asking them what they're excited about, asking them about challenges and so forth. And then you have another asynchronous opportunity where they can be creative. And that's where I think WeVideo really connects well with the asynchronous, because you're allowing students to be their most creative selves and to make an impact with their voice. And they're able to, adopt some of those at 20% time where they're able to be creative and pursue some of those creative ventures. They're also able to apply video creation to a math lesson or a book that they're reading. They're able to convey the main ideas and so forth. But I would say the number one piece of advice I would give is to ensure we have a structure for the day, and inside that structure, build in time for self-care for the teacher and for the student, time to have some think time, to have some reflection time. That's going to make the learning experience much more richer and obviously much more connected to everything else that's happening throughout the week.
Well put. Awesome. Oh. Thank you so much, Nathan. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your insights there. I think that's a wrap for today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. As always, we use these as guides for upcoming episodes. If there's a specific product, feature, or topic you'd like us to address, let us know. With that, as always, happy creating. We'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.